Jack Darby here, and when I'm not taking rides with RC, I like watching video reviews from Optibotimus.
With another video review, and today we're going to be taking a look at, well, what might be one of the last figures from the Transformers Prime Robots in Disguise line, and that is the Voyager class Skyquake. Now, the reason I say it might be one of the last is because Skyquake apparently is supposed to be coming out to retail stores, but he's part of a revamped case that includes Ultra Magnus and Thundertron. The problem, though, is with stores now starting to get the Beast Hunter stuff, this may be an unfortunate casualty, and a lot of stores may not be buying the Robots in Disguise figures anymore. So that could be tough to actually get your hands on this guy. As you can see, really nice Transformers Prime open face package here. You got the Try Me thing with his cannon right there, light up pulse cannon. Come around here to the side, really cool image of Skyquake himself. Other side features a little bit of a bio, which is absolutely hilarious to read because it says, buried for ages, sealed in a state of low function that was not quite stasis lock, Skyquake waited for the day his Lord Megatron might need him. He has the power to shake the very world to its foundation. The Autobots will learn to feel terror once again at the hands of Skyquake. Except most people know what happened to Skyquake, so that doesn't really matter. Come around here to the back, you see the other Autobot characters from Transformers Prime Season 1 and Season 2, the fighter jet mode for Skyquake, as well as his robot mode, with the whole Powerizer gimmick right there, where you press and hold to convert the pulse cannon to a shadow wave blaster. Cool. And he comes with the sword, which is strange because that really should just be for Dreadwing, I guess. But that's about it. You know, one thing that I really love the green on here a lot more than I thought I would, and I hope it really comes across nicely on the camera. But really very cool. A character that, honestly, they didn't need to do for us because he appeared in, like, one episode and then he became a zombie. But I think it's really cool that we're actually getting it. I think it's a really nice touch, and I really am happy to actually have the figure. So let's get him open and see how cool he actually is. Alright guys, so here we have Skyquake opened up and out of its packaging. Now right up front, you're not going to be getting a lot different between this and the Dreadwing figure. The only remolded part is actually in the weapon. But that being said, he's still a character from the show, and he's still nice to actually have. But much like my Dreadwing figure, and a lot of the stuff that I'm going to be saying in this is just going to be echoing what I said in that Dreadwing review. This figure looks great from, like, right here. This is a wonderful look for the figure if you're looking from the top down. If you look at it from the side or the bottom, or even kind of the back, because you got his hands here, it's a really ugly figure. And it's really very unfortunate. I do love the way that this looks. If I could just look at him like this, I'd be perfectly fine. I mean, honestly, I guess I shouldn't complain too much because these guys I display in their robot mode. So it really isn't all that bad, I guess. But speaking of the remolded bit, we do have his gun, which is this Gatling gun. And again, you got the Powerizer gimmick, or what, I think that's what it's called. I forgot. I just put it out of my mind. It upset me so much, so I just ignored it. But you can see that it's got the light up feature on here and bringing in Dreadwings. And the only remolded part actually is the tip, and it's going to be hard to do. The tip bit here. As you can see, this is just the kind of cannon thing. This has the Gatling gun thing. So really the only remolded part is just this bit right here. The main section here is the same. This barrel thingamajigger down here is the same. I will be honest that I do like the look of this one a little bit more. Just seems to kind of work, I guess, a little bit better. But in addition to that, he also does come with, well, Dreadwing's sword. And this is exactly identical to what we got with Dreadwing. So you have his swords. Now, much like the Dreadwing figure, he does still have those soft kind of rubber bits where the nose cone is a soft rubber. These little bits right here are a very soft rubber. This is a soft rubber on here. You got the soft rubber on his knees, which will show off more in his actual robot mode. Same problem with the landing gear. They're molded wheels. They don't actually roll or anything. So, I mean, like I said, all the same problems that I had with the original figure, that being Dreadwing, I still have with this one. Although I don't have this transformed too properly right here at the rear, but who cares. But for a comparison, here you see Dreadwing and obviously Skyquake. They both have the same kind of Decepticon logo here, which is really very cool. I do like it. And one thing that I absolutely love is I do love the silver that's added right up here. You have this bit, and completely detach that. Peg that in there. Come on. This whole cockpit here just kind of bleeds into this yellow bit here, and it kind of looks weird. I like what they did with this, where they added a little bit of silver here to actually separate this back section from the canopy, I suppose. So really very cool. And then you got a little bit of silver painted all the way around it with some silver coming across the top. So the paint applications on here are a little bit nicer than what we got with Dreadwing, although I still really like the gold on here. But that's just, you know, accurate. I mean, that's how Dreadwing looked. This is how Skyquake looked. And honestly, that's really about it here for his vehicle mode. It is the first time that we saw this vehicle mode in the show, because as you remember, Skyquake was the first of the twins to be introduced, and Skyquake basically stole the design from Agent Fowler, who was flying around in a jet like this. So really very cool. I mean, I do like it. There are problems with it. Like I said, I love the way it looks from this side, but the really best feature, I honestly think, is the transformation going into his robot mode. Now, because we already covered that with Dreadwing, we're going to go ahead and skip it and do some movie magic. So, like I said, going from his vehicle mode here, using some movie magic, we're going to go to his robot mode. And by movie magic, I just mean really cheap fading to getting to this mode. Because that's all I have at my fingertips, so deal with it. But here we have him in his robot mode, and again, you're seeing the exact same figure that we got previously with Dreadwing. One thing that I will say that is very nicely improved on this one is the ball joint here for the head is not as stiff as Dreadwing's. So while he still has the rubber head and he still has the light piping with the actual eye bits kind of jutting out like two little fingers that come into the rest of his head, when you rotate this one, it doesn't feel like it's going to break. Now, as I mentioned in my review of Dreadwing, because of the stiffness in that actual ball joint, a friend of mine, while he was rotating his head, actually broke the eyes inside this figure. As you can see, this does have a very stiff joint or ball joint on it. This one is a whole lot easier to rotate. I have no problem with that at all. But you can see it right here, exactly the same figures. And because they share a twin kind of thing going on, they really are very much similar in terms of their character, which is really very fun, because we got this guy yanked from us so very early in the series that even if he didn't get pulled away from us, and if he stayed in the series, he basically would be exactly what we have with Dreadwing. The characters are almost identical in terms of their personality. So really very cool. Now, there is a few more paint applications in his head. Unlike with Dreadwing, you just have the blue and then the gold. This has the green. It has a very nice kind of silver paint on his entire face. You got little kind of copper highlights here on the ears. Zoom in so that you can see that. I mean, it does look very nice. It does have a real nice difference between the two heads. I mean, there you see the very simple kind of blue and gold, and then you got a little bit more depth going on here with actually Skyquake. So very nice. And then obviously you can see, like with the silver bits here, it just fills it in a little bit better. It gives a little bit more depth to the canopy, whereas this one is just a big yellow blob. And as I mentioned in the Dreadwing review, the actual Powerizer clear plastic on the rest of the body, I don't think really ruins the look for him. I think it really enhances it. Much like with the yellow one here, where it's actually incorporated and it looks pretty good. The kind of, I want to say orangish sort of translucent bits throughout Skyquake here also look very good. And then you do still have the ability here to take this gun, and it doesn't work very good. You can plug it here in the back, and then it's you really can't even see it because of the way that it works. But you're not really highlighting any light like piping or anything because of this. It's just not a good positioning, but you can't really see anything through there. So you can still plug it in there. For his holding of it, it's because it stays in this position, it really kind of sucks. I mean, I'd love to be able to really get him to hold on here, which he doesn't do very well at all. So you're forced with him holding his Gatling gun like this, or maybe you could do it upside down. I mean, I suppose you could do it, you can't even do it like that, really, because I mean, well, yeah, you can't. So he can't even hold the gun the way that he's meant to hold it, I suppose. But it's still a nice weapon. I do wish it could actually lock. You can definitely see here where I wish that this was something where there was like a peg right here where he can hold it, so he could sling it kind of like he actually would do. It's just really kind of unfortunate. This gimmick here really kind of ruins it. But beyond that, though, one other thing is these bits right here actually feel a little bit more secure than, at least on my version of Dreadwing here. They're not as loose, so they don't droop down as much. This guy's will, yeah, I'll do that, and you see, here, I'll show you. They fall down. This one, I mean, they do, but, well, maybe that's not as good as I thought. Here, hold on. Yeah, see, I mean, they still come down, but not as easily, I suppose. So it still bugs me that the head doesn't really peg in, although it does kind of friction in here a little bit better. Again, that could just be my particular figure. So it really is just a crapshoot, basically, about if you're going to get a good version or if you're going to get a weaker version like Dreadwing. Now, the bottom line is, with this figure, you're getting basically the same thing that you got with Dreadwing, but they are two different characters from the show. That being said, I do highly recommend picking up Skyquake. Problem, as I mentioned, is that he's at the very end of the line. And just like what we saw with like the Dark of the Moon, Wheeljack, and Soundwave from the Human Alliance line, retailers are not picking these guys up because they're going on to the new line, which is the Beast Hunter figures. So if you do find them in stores, you're going to be pretty lucky. Right now, the best way to make sure that you do get this is going through Big Bad Toy Store or online stores such as that. Now, BBTS does have this guy available right now. Problem, though, is he comes in a 3-pack with him, Ultra Magnus, and Thundertron. Now, if you do want to get all 3 of those figures, this is the best way to get him at a fairly reasonable price. It's just, what are you going to do with those other 2 figures if you already have them? Now, you could probably do what I did, and you could sell them off to other collectors that are interested in picking those up, or I guess you could take them back to like Walmart or something and maybe exchange them and just say that you got them as a birthday present and didn't get the receipt and they might give you store credit or something. Either way, you can recoup the cost as much as possible, I suppose, for that Ultra Magnus and Thundertron. Because unfortunately, nobody really sells this guy just by himself. And if they do, he's a whole lot more expensive. He is a figure well worth picking up. I personally do believe that he is an improvement over the Dreadwing figure and looks fantastic with the rest of my Decepticons on my Transformers Prime display. But he's going to be a little bit harder to get. So I do wish you the best of luck. If you do want to go the Big Bad Toy Store route, go ahead, click down in the video description. There'll be a link there. It'll take you there, and you can check this guy out for yourself. But that's about it, guys. So I hope you enjoyed this look at the Transformers Prime Voyager class Skyquake. And until next time, this has been Optibotimus. I'll talk to you later.